This episode is brought to you by United Airlines. When you want to make the most of your vacation, book with United. They're an airline that cares about your travels as much as you do. United is transforming the flying experience with Bluetooth connectivity, screens, power at every seat, and bigger overhead bins to help fit everyone's bag. And with their app, you can skip the bag check line, get live updates, and more. Change the way you fly. Book your next trip today at united.com.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
It does take a leap of faith, but also persistence. And frankly, Tim, I don't think we would have gotten here without you. I have to be honest. I mean, there were many phone conversations I think that the 3 of us had where it was like, you were like, no, hold on. We're going to work through this. I think that, that faith and persistence and having someone that understands it is so valuable.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the FranCoach's Franchising 101 podcast. I am Tim Parmeter, founder and CEO of FranCoach and your podcast host. Today is another installment of Don't Tell Anybody, but this is my favorite. These are my favorite ones. A little series we call In Their Words. And in this segment, we're going to hear directly from FranCoach clients who become franchise owners. We're going to talk about their backgrounds, what led them to consider franchise ownership, how they navigated the process with the FranCoach team, as well as what franchise they chose and how it's gone so far. Today, we have just an absolute delightful couple, some of the best people I've had the fortune of working with in my dang near 11 years of doing this. I want to talk all about their journey, and their journey started listening to this little podcast called Franchising 101. Those suckers actually believed me enough to get on the phone. And now they've gone through the whole process and now they are franchise owners. And so look forward to sharing their journey with you here in a moment. First, quick reminder of who we are. FranCoach is a national search firm dedicated to working with people like you that are interested in owning a franchise. Our number one goal is to help properly educate you on all things franchising to determine if you should own a franchise. If so, we're going to help you figure out which is the best one for you. And as you're going to learn, hearing from these two today, there's some things you probably aren't thinking about. They're going to be key factors for this. So let's get to our guest and hear about their journey. And we are back on the Franchising 101 podcast with our amazing guests. Part of the joy of what I do and what we do at FranCoach is we get to talk to smart, successful people all day, every day. And a really good chunk of them also end up being amazing folks. And so I am excited to have Brian and Maggie Bohanon joining us today to share their journey. And been a few months since we last talked. It's awesome to see you guys and talk to you guys today. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having
us.
So I've got a bunch of things I want to talk about. Definitely get into, obviously, eventually your franchise, that whole process of back and forth with this. And you guys are in that fun no man's land of signed the franchise agreement, but not yet open. And that can be exciting and terrifying and frustrating and all those things. But to begin with, give us a little scoop. You guys are, Brian, not like completely you were very familiar with what a franchise was, but this is your first kind of venture into this. Give us a little bit about you guys' background.
Yeah, I work for a company that has some franchises. I've been in the tech industry for over 20 years. That's it. I've always been an employee, a corporate kind of guy, and it's served me well so far. And I really just wanted to kind of expand my horizons, if you will. And I lead a team of people, and I felt like I could take some of the skills that I learned through my education and through my work experience and apply those to a business.
Excellent. And All right, Maggie, don't think you get to just, sit there quietly. Give us your little background and scoop.
Well, I worked in pediatric dentistry for about 15 years and have since been at home, the supporting role, raising the kids and getting, life moving forward for us, and number one cheerleader for this guy here. So this is quite an exciting journey we're on.
Yes, it is. And so you guys have been, one way or the other, kind of in the corporate world throughout kind of your professional side of things. What even kind of prompted, let's take a look and see what this might look like as far as owning a franchise?
Well, I had tried to start a couple of businesses, Tim, the various internet-based businesses, if you will, print on demand, things like that. I found myself working alone through those businesses. No fault of Maggie's. They're just kind of one-man shops.
Right.
And I didn't get a lot of satisfaction out of that. It's really hard. It's a very oversaturated space on the internet, even though it's vast. And I wanted something that I could really sink my teeth into. So I started looking around. I found an online software as a service educational learning platform that was for sale. It was under contract when I reached out to the person, and they said, "Hey, have you ever thought about franchising? We have a franchise person we'd like you to talk to." And I was like, "No, I don't really want to own a McDonald's. Not that I can afford McDonald's, but no, I don't want a McDonald's." And I let some time go by, and maybe 6 months or so. And then I was like, maybe this franchise thing might work out. And so I started doing what I do, which is looking for information. And I love podcasts. And I literally, your podcast came up, and I was like, I listened to maybe 3 or 4 episodes, and I went to Maggie and I was like, "Hey, what do you think about this idea? Let's call this guy." And I don't know if you remember, this was December of 2023 when I first reached out to you. And I liked the podcast because it made me feel more confident in what franchising could offer, as opposed to the very small scope of what I thought a franchise was.
Yeah. Maggie, so he comes to you and he's like, "Hey, listen to this old bald dude on a podcast about franchising. I think we should get on the phone and talk to him about that." I don't know if this is like, a family friendly show, so maybe not say what you really said to him, but what went through your mind when he's rolling in there saying that to you?
I was a little apprehensive at first, but we listened to a couple episodes of your podcast together, and then we finally got to talk to you, and I started feeling more comfortable with the idea and have kind of gradually grown along the way into it.
Excellent. It's kind of the gradual, then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're like, "Uh-oh, we own one of these things." And yeah, now you get to be on the world famous Franchising 101 podcast as guest. And so except you guys stopped listening. I lost 2 of our 8 listeners. So let's struggling a little bit, but there's still a few people out there. So we get connected, we get started. You guys have very kind of specific backgrounds. And we start kind of building this out, and ultimately get to where we look at franchises. And we looked at franchises that were very different on the surface. If you guys can think back to that, I'm like, okay, here are and I think we did 4.
Yes.
Maybe right. And so here's the 4 things, and a couple of them had physical space, retail things. One not at all. One had a little office. So we had a good mix. Do you remember we weren't on camera then, so you guys might have been rolling your eyes or making faces at me back and forth talking about that. But can you think back to what that was like? Actually, here are the ones that we're going to start vetting.
It was interesting. Because it was kind of like, it was kind of like a gift, sort of. We didn't know what was inside. We had listened to all of your early podcasts where you go step by step of your process. And in every one of those podcasts, I think you say, I just ask everybody to trust the process. I just ask them to trust the process. And so I kept telling myself, okay, we're just going to go through this, because there was one that we were like, no, but we wanted to trust the process and we wanted to go through that. And that was very interesting. It was a learning curve for us. Even though I work for a company with franchises, you don't see that side. Yeah. So yeah, it was an interesting experience. We learned a lot, but frankly, it was really only scratching the surface. I mean, the learning curve has been great for us.
Yeah. No, I like your analogy of opening a gift, and it kind of makes me chuckle. Just over the weekend, I was going to say my wife drugged me, but that may not be the right word. I was graciously allowed to accompany her to a baby shower. So on the slim chance she's listening, I've said it that way now. But we're kind of laughing about like the fake face opening a gift, right? Because there's the mom to be and opening, and it's like, oh, this is great, right? Like we've all probably been on both sides of that, right? And so you're like, oh yeah, Tim, that's awesome. It's, a franchise that does this. I don't know anything about that. And so kudos to you guys for having such an open mind to get in. But you guys were different than most. Most of the time it takes a while before one really kind of gets to the top. It happened quickly with you guys to the point where I almost had to like slow you down on that a little bit. But, and let's go ahead and we'll do the big, baby shower. We'll do the brand reveal here. You guys are now proud owners of what franchise?
This episode is brought to you by United Airlines. When you want to make the most of your vacation, book with United. They're an airline that cares about your travels as much as you do. United is transforming the flying experience with Bluetooth connectivity, screens, power at every seat, and bigger overhead bins to help fit everyone's bag. And with their app, you can skip the bag check line, get live updates, and more. Change the way you fly. Book your next trip today at united.com.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/campaign to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Assisting hands.
Assisting hands. So Maggie, since you answered, you get to answer this question also. Assisting hands, Maggie, what the heck is that? Give us the 30-second elevator pitch.
It is in-home senior care. We will be able to provide in-home care for a large area or our population locally as well. Just providing caregivers and basically filling a need because of the growing population of the aging population.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. So what was it? Because again, it was, you guys were about as fast to really locking in on one brand as I think I've had in almost 11 years of doing this. What was it for you guys that was just that strong of a connection so quickly?
I think there were three things, Tim. We wanted, we really wanted to be aligned with an organization that our values matched with closely. And we really got that out of the gate. We had that feeling very quickly. Secondly, there was something that they told us in the very first call, first time we met with our business development rep, Dan. Dan told us that they did not have any private equity investment. I particularly like that, largely because it means that it's founder run. So there's, a close-knit group of people that are running this organization. It's not like there are people that have a say that are very distant from it. And the third thing is because we have personal experience with in-home senior care with my mother.
Yeah. And just the ability to kind of make sure that people are having a great experience when that comes up. Because it's, I mean, short of us not making it to that age, right? It's gonna touch all of us, right? And so, so you guys go through the process, and then we locked on. You did a very good job of being diligent throughout, talking to everybody, talking to owners, and then you get to go to a meet the team day, discovery day. Those terms are always interchangeable. Yours was in person, and you made the long trek from the Atlanta, Georgia area all the way out to Idaho. And you had a kind of a unique experience out there with the Assisting Hands folks. So share a little bit about what that was like when you guys went out there.
It was great. I don't know what else to say. We were there for a couple of days. They do things a little different there, I think. There's not a lot of whining and dining. It's more come in and meet our family and let's spend some time together and get to know each other. And I love this part when the CFO and COO picked us up at the airport. I stuck my hand out to shake their hand, oh, hey, how you doing? And they were like, nope, bring it in. We're getting a hug. And that's kind of how the whole experience was for us. It was like we'd known them for our entire lives. There was no getting to know period or anything like that. It was just right off the bat, we felt very comfortable with them, maybe because their family was there and we're comfortable in that setting. But it was definitely a unique experience. We still talk about now when we're talking to people, that's one of the highlights. I think that really helped solidify for us the values that we were looking for.
Yeah. I think part of this journey, and I want to come back to some of at least one of the other things you did there, because I think it also speaks to their kind of family culture. But there's no right or wrong to this, but there are multiple franchises that do senior care, right? And in every single industry, they can look the same on the surface, but they can be incredibly different behind the scenes, right? And so there could be other ones that are, big, private equity backed, or they've got, like layers of people through in there and more, corporate-y type of thing. You guys might not have been that match for you guys. And there might be somebody else that's hearing that journey. I'm like, hey, bring it in for a hug. And they'll be like, hey, back off. Right.
Yeah.
And that's okay too. Right. But I know for you guys throughout this, that connection you've had to the people, not just in the franchise, the franchisor, but there are other owners that you've spoken to. You've had a very consistent vibe. And for you guys, that makes you, for lack of a better term, just feel at home. Is that pretty accurate for you guys?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I think so.
Hey everyone, I wanted to take a quick break from our podcast to tell you about our amazing friends at Entrepreneur. If you're looking to become a franchisee or simply learn more about business ownership, and guys, let's be honest, you're listening to the Franchising 101 podcast, so we know you have some interest in this. And I really encourage you to go to entrepreneur.com to check out all of their great content and resources. Seriously, Entrepreneur has everything, all the way from a bookstore to the best podcasts, webinars, and videos, plus information on upcoming events and the latest articles that seriously, they cover all aspects of franchising and business ownership. If you're having trouble deciding which franchise is right for you, start with Entrepreneur's renowned Franchise 500 ranking, which highlights the best franchises of 2022. For 45 years and counting now, Entrepreneur has been and continues to be the most widely recognized and respected authority in the franchise market. Digital and print subscriptions are available, so you never miss out on anything. So seriously, what are you waiting for? Go to entrepreneur.com right now and learn more. What other unique, fun thing did you guys do when you were in Idaho?
We got to go ride horses at the CEO.
The CEO's ranch. We rode some horses. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
we got to stay an extra day because there's really only one flight in and out.
Oh, that's
to
right. I
Atlanta.
forgot about that.
And so,
They had us back out, and we got to hang out with the family some more and played some pickleball and just really got to know them.
and on the way out of town, they made sure that we got to go by the Boise State football field that's blue. We had just casually mentioned that at dinner, and the CEO made sure that they took us by on the way out. We got to go on a tour and took pictures, and
Nice.
and it was just like, I don't know how to explain it exactly. There was just a kindred spirit, I guess you would say. They're very similar in age. I think they're the same age that we are. And getting that extra day, on the first day, there was another couple. There was some rushing around that was happening due to some family events. And that second day was very laid back, and we really got to just walk around and spend time with them. And it was great.
Yeah. It's, no, the horseback riding thing, I think is always cool. And again, but that connection, I guess if I were to ask you, last December when we first talked, okay, guys, how important do you think it's going to be that you really have this great connection with the franchise? Like maybe a little bit, but then it ends up being one of the biggest differentiators for what's best for people. So I'm glad you had that. And then even though you guys did kind of end up like the guest that won't leave, right? You guys just kept going back over to Lane's house. But so now we get the fun of becoming a franchise owner. And then there's that like honeymoon period right at the beginning. And then there's like, okay, the goalpost is still a ways off because we've got to find a location. We've got to ultimately get some licensing. We got to start hiring some people. So you guys are kind of in the middle of all of that. The franchise was super fun at the beginning and loved the people. Do we hate them now? Are they still there for you? Are they supportive? How's all that going at this point?
I think they're fantastic. Their national team is awesome. The franchise, the other Z's that we've spoken to are more than helpful. Just bend over backwards and want to see you succeed as well. I think our experience has been really, really good up to this point.
Yeah, this franchise has an area rep model. And so we have area reps that were franchisees for 13 years or so. And we still have weekly calls with the national team and the area reps every week, working through things. They're very patient and helpful. And we have a stack of things that we have to do, not because of the franchise necessarily, but just because of what we're doing in this space. And we've stumbled on chicken or egg problems over and over and over again. And that's not the franchise's fault. That's just the way we're doing things.
Yeah.
It's been a big learning curve, like I told you. I think since we signed, I've probably spoken to 30 different franchisees on the phone.
Oh, wow.
With different questions, getting my pro forma, just trying to understand things like break-even periods. They've all been so great, taking time out with us. It's been awesome.
Yeah, I think they're not every franchise is like this. A good chunk of them, but they really try to foster that relationship with their owners, so they do communicate back and forth. And before long, you guys are going to be the one. There comes some newbie in here going, "Oh my gosh!" Like, "Oh, let's call Brian and Maggie. They'll totally help us out," and they've got it all figured out. So. Do we have I know we're kind of working on finalizing everything for the lease and then into the licensing. Do we have a target for an open date yet, or at least kind of a ballpark?
The beginning of January. Yep. The state of Georgia takes about 60 days for licensing.
Okay.
And so we just signed our lease.
Awesome.
With that, we'll be able to submit for our licensing with the state. So 60 days out, we'll have our office in December. That'll give us a nice buffer to get things set up before the craziness starts.
How are we feeling about everything?
Great.
Excited, nervous.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole thing has been amazing.
If you can think back to this kind of as you're like, again, you guys kind of locked onto a brand early, and then that, honestly, the earlier that happens, the more I think like fear can hit towards the end. Right. And so you guys, like everybody, and there should be a little, wait, are we really about to do this? Like, how did you guys kind of like work through that? Cause I know there were a few things that were kind of coming up along the way, but, can you pinpoint anything in particular that really kind of like, oh, this is, yes, I know we're a little scared, but this is the right fit for us? Was there anything that really kind of jumps out at you?
For me, not anything like that I could pinpoint. I could definitely say along the entire journey from start up until this point, there have been many what I term as God moments or nudges that we're on the right track, that we're doing things the way that we want to have. Not everything may go the way that I want necessarily, but things are happening at the right time, in the right direction, and we're getting to where we need to be.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's there's a certain level of leap of faith. I think that when people come into this process, even at the very beginning, I'm like, you have to have an open mind to really go through this journey, because, and I'm sure I said this to you guys, I'm going to get you outside of your comfort zone at some point, right? That's not comfortable. And then it's the fun period of it gets dating. Oh, geez, this is super fun. Wait, you want to get married? Ooh, like, and you're kind of doing that with the franchise. And that's where the people involved matters so much more than I think anybody can fathom at the beginning. And so I'm very, very glad this connection was available for you guys. And I know their team saw one of them a couple of weeks ago and just still won't shut up. They just keep raving about both of you. I mean, let's be honest, Maggie, it was way more you than, the joker next to you. So we're getting ready for first of the year. Now I want you to kind of think of, there's somebody out there listening to this that has yet, for reasons that defy logic, not gotten on the phone with us yet. What kind of piece of advice you guys were from like doing some research, listening to some podcasts, then on the phone, and now you're sitting here, 2 months away from being open for business with your franchise? What advice would you give somebody, or some thoughts for anybody listening right now?
It does take a leap of faith, but also persistence. And frankly, Tim, I don't think we would have gotten here without you. I have to be honest. The process that you have laid out is very clear, and it seems simple, but without someone, there were many phone conversations I think that the three of us had where it was like, you were like, no, hold on. We're going to work through this. And so I think that, that faith and persistence and having someone that understands it is so valuable. There's so much to it that we didn't know. Yeah. And you were very helpful in that.
Yeah. Well, no, and thank you. But it's really, when I think in franchising, every brand is going to tell you, well, what's the most important thing? Well, we want somebody who's going to follow the plan. And I think I look for kind of what we do, and even do this for training for people on our team. Like, if you've got a client that's not going to follow our plan, they sure as heck aren't following the franchisor's plan, right? And so, again, you guys just bought in, right? And again, it's okay to buy in and then realize, okay, well, these people don't really know what the heck they're doing, and then you escape out. But when we start vetting the franchises, it's thorough, right? And you guys did a very good job of doing a step, kind of thinking through it, very deliberate, very thoughtful, of all of that. And then, like everybody, you're going to have some freak out moments, right? And it's usually not as bad as you think, but some of the things you think are amazing usually aren't that good either. There's somewhere right in the middle, and trying to stay steady. And I know I always like working with our pal Dan Durney at Assisting Hands, because I think one of the things he says early on to people in the process, he's like, I'm just your tour guide, right? And kind of like showing you this. So I'm guessing at no point in this journey did you guys feel like you were in some, timeshare room or high pressured into, sign today or else type of thing, right?
Not at all.
Definitely not with Dan. Definitely not with Dan.
There was an immediate connection with him,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Who's funnier, me or Dan? You're on my podcast. Who's funnier, me or Dan?
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Excellent. Good. And we say that jokingly because our pal Dan literally does stand-up comedy. So, but I've not seen it in person, so I'm going to assume he's funny, or maybe he's just that person that's there to make the next guy look better. I don't know, but so we're getting ready to launch, and you guys are Atlanta-ish, but kind of on this side. Tell everybody again, because again, I'm sure we have thousands of people in this area that are listening to this. But where exactly is our turf for this?
Northwest Atlanta. No, yes, suburbs of Atlanta.
We're in Kennesaw, Marietta, and Acworth, which are 3-bedroom communities, Metro Atlanta. Lots of people have lived here for a long time. It's a great territory. We had the choice of a couple of territories, and this one is where we live, and it's where we know people, and it's our community. Yeah. And like I said, there was a lot of value for my mother to be able to stay where she wanted to be when she had a caregiver. And we want to help people do that. We really want to provide that.
Yeah. And I have no doubt you guys will do an amazing job with this. And so excited for you to get open. And I know you're going to make this just incredible difference in the community. You're like, and I want to thank you guys. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. I'm always a little sad when people sign a franchise agreement, because then you guys break up with me at that point. You don't need me anymore. So I greatly appreciate you taking the time to come on and chat with me, and look forward to hearing about all of your amazing successes as owners of Assisting Hands in Northwest Atlanta. So Brian, Maggie, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks again to Brian and Maggie for joining us today. Just absolute delightful couple. I am excited for them to finally get launched here in a couple months with their Assisting Hands business. But hopefully it helps, again, everybody listening get some more insight into the amazing possibilities that can be achieved with franchise ownership, but also some of those intangible things that you probably aren't thinking are really important that end up being some of the big drivers and reasons why a franchise is right for you. Also, if you're interested in learning more about franchising, go to our website, FranCoach.net. Sure, there's got to be something good on there. All of our podcasts you can find wherever you're listening to them, or on Franchising 101, podcast.net. Also, our TV show every Friday night, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on Biz TV. Myself and Danielle Wright, and then an array of guests coming on there as well. Again, it's on Biz TV. It's called the Franchising 360 Show, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific there. And then next week, we'll be back for another episode of the Franchising 101 podcast. Again, if you're ready to actually take that step like Brian and Maggie finally did, talk to our team and help learn to see if you should own a franchise, and if so, which one. Reach out to us again, FranCoach.net. Message us. We're here. There's never any fee for our service. Let us help you create your better tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in, folks. We'll see you next week.